Welcome to Marketing and Mindset for Wellness Coaches, the podcast for health coaches and wellness entrepreneurs just like you who are building a business, making the world a healthier place, and designing a first-class life. I'm your host, Kim Foster, MD and certified business coach, and I'm on a mission to help you up-level your strategy and raise your mindset so you can truly thrive and grow your business. Let's get started. Hello, my friend. How are you? It's Kim here, and today we're going to talk about something that comes up for all of us, whether we realize it or not. And to be honest, most of the time, we don't realize it. So what I'm talking about is self-sabotage. So it's the ways that we actually sabotage our own success, and we do it without being aware of it. And I'm going to walk you through the 4 steps that happen for everybody every time this process occurs. And this is important if you want to achieve things that you have never achieved before, or do things that you have never done before, whether that's in your business or your life. And if you don't take a really hard look at this stuff, at what's going on in your mind, you are destined to just repeat the same patterns and stay stuck in the same place and never achieve your goals. And you will undoubtedly believe that there was something outside of you that caused this to happen. But trust me, it's not that. It's completely an inside job. And the sooner that you realize that, the sooner you will be in control of it. Before we go any further with this, I just want to mention that a few years ago, when I was first building my online business, I would never have bought into the idea that I was sabotaging my own success. I would have said that that was ridiculous. At that point, I had actually achieved a lot of things already in my life, and I didn't think that that was my problem, self-sabotage. And I would have totally dismissed that idea. But the thing is, that is absolutely what I was doing. And until I recognized it for what it was, I would never have been able to move past it and achieve the success in business that I have. I would have stayed right where I was. So if that's you right now, if you're thinking, yeah, maybe other people sabotage themselves, but that's not really me, that's not my issue, I want you to keep listening and really think about what I'm saying, because there's a good chance that that is exactly what you're doing. So I want to begin by sharing with you a process that happens so often when somebody is actually trying to be courageous and they want to take a stand for something and they're reaching for a big goal or a desire in their business or their life. They hit an upper limit. They hit this invisible barrier, which represents what they've known as possible for themselves. And that triggers a lot of fear. And then there's a whole cascade of what happens after that. So it's important to understand that this very natural and unbelievably common process, because when you do understand it, you'll be able to more gracefully navigate through this phenomenon and really create the change that you're wanting to create in your business and your life. It's basically a 4-step process that happens without you being aware of it. So let me walk you through those 4 steps. So the first thing that happens is that we get inspired. We have a vision, or even just a glimpse of a vision of what is possible for ourselves. And that glimpse makes us feel inspired and uplifted and really excited for what might happen. I'm sure you've had this feeling before. You start to get excited by the possibility. Maybe it's excitement when you glimpse the kind of growth that you would love for your business, or the impact that you could perhaps have in the world when you reach the people that you would love to help. So you have this vision and it's really invigorating, which leads you to the second step, which is action. Now, this action could look like starting to research what you would need to do. It could be signing up for a training program. I know a lot of people are at this stage when they first learn about health and wellness coaching, and they are positively on top of the world, feeling like they have discovered the exact thing that they want to do with their lives. And then they jump online, find a training program, maybe do some research on the different programs. And then the next thing they know, they have enrolled in a program. So this action step is great. It's a great feeling. Maybe it could be clearing your calendar, or maybe making some kind of change in your life to make space for the new project you want to work on. Or maybe it's looking at your options and talking to some people about what you want to do. Or it might be attending a webinar or downloading a freebie or buying a book, or maybe booking a discovery call with somebody you think might be able to help you with whatever step you want to take next, like maybe booking a call with a coach, something like that. But then after this, after the action step, the second step in this process, we then move on to the third step. And again, this step happens automatically. It's not something that you decide to do. It just happens. And the third step, the third thing that happens is fear. This is when the blocks and the fears start to come up because it's starting to feel real. And this vision is not actually congruent with your current image of yourself. You've started to step into this new identity, perhaps, and that feels scary and big. And your primitive brain gets triggered because it feels unsafe. And so all these blocks and fears start to come up. But it is incredibly important to learn this and understand it and see it for what it is in order to transform it. And you need to know that this is normal. It does not mean that something has gone wrong. Fear and self-doubt in itself is not a sign that something has gone horribly wrong. In fact, it's predictable. It's just our primitive brain reacting to what's happening. So you need to notice if your mind is kind of flipping out. If you start saying things to yourself like, I'm not qualified for this, or somebody else is doing this, and in fact, they're doing it better than I ever could. Or your mind might be saying things like, actually, I don't have time for this. I don't have the money for this after all. Who am I anyway? And all of these thoughts are just stories that are keeping you small and limited. It's just your fear trying to keep you safe, to stop you from taking risks, and to hold you in your safe zone. Because by making this change, it's unknown. What could happen? Our primitive minds don't like change, but it's all in the mind. It's just made up. It's in the future. So at this point, you've gone through the three stages: the vision, the action, and then the fear that inevitably follows those first few steps that you took toward your vision. And then the fourth stage is actually a crossroads because you have a choice at this point. You always have a choice at this point. As soon as you can see this, you'll feel much more empowered to know what this means and what this whole process is about. So when you're conditioning and your primitive mind is pulling up all kinds of fears and doubts and limiting beliefs, it's telling you to stay small and stay safe. You can do one of two things. You can do what a lot of people do, which is they settle. They stay stuck in this contracted way of living and they don't make any kind of change. They tell themselves that it's okay. Maybe later they'll feel more motivated or they'll be able to overcome whatever thing it is they feel is standing in their way, like time or money or knowledge or whatever. But what they don't realize is that the fear is destined to come up no matter if you start now or not. It's just going to sit there waiting for you later when you start to consider this new pathway again. That fear is going to be there, ready to push you back down again. So whether you take the risk now or you wait 6 months and do it then, it's going to trigger the fear and the self-doubt at that point, and you'll have to deal with it then if you want to move past it. Otherwise, you'll stay settled and small forever. So honestly, you might as well face it now. Conquer the fear now. Don't wait the 6 months, putting it off until next year or whenever. All that's going to happen is you'll be 1 year older and no further ahead. These are just limiting beliefs. They're not true. Your mind wants to keep you safe, so it kicks up a lot of convincing stories to keep you small. And they can really sound like the truth. Your mind is a very convincing creature. I don't have enough time right now. Sounds like it's the stone cold truth. But the more courageous you are, and if you are really able to peel back the layers and realize that this is just your fear talking, you'll see this for what it is, and you'll find yourself unwilling to let fear hold you back. And you'll stretch your capacity for discomfort. You'll push yourself out of your comfort zone and experience much greater freedom and fulfillment in your own life. So Elizabeth Gilbert says in her fabulous book, Big Magic, that you acknowledge the fear that's holding you back and telling you why something is impossible. And you can even thank the fear. You can say, thank you, fear, for showing up and trying to keep me safe, but I've got this. I'm doing this anyway. And so, of course, that's the second choice at this crossroads. That's the transformation. You move through this stage, this crossroads, and onward to your big future. And you can do this in a couple of different ways. You can question the fear, like really logic it through and come to realize that there is no truth to what your mind is telling you, and then move forward from there. Or you can feel the fear and move forward anyway. Maybe there is no logical way out, but the truth is, life is about risk. And if you want the really good stuff to happen, you're going to accept a certain amount of risk and discomfort. And that's something that you can do because you can do hard things. But the magic happens in action, really being willing to take action on what it is that you truly want. And I want to point out, it doesn't matter what level of success you've reached. This exact same process comes up over and over. As they say, new level, new devil. Every time you want to reach for a new goal, your mind will look for ways to tell you why you can't do that. And you have to see it for what it is and then make the choice to not let that stop you. Over time, you'll strengthen your ability to move through with more grace, and you'll feel more empowered in your life and your business, and you'll be able to go for what you really do want. So here's a little homework. Pull out your journal or your notebook and first of all, identify what is the vision. This is the calling. It's the thing that's inspiring you. And you can even write about what the first few steps were that you started to take toward this vision, even if it was just researching or reading about it or listening to something like a podcast. And then the second thing is to name your block. What is the fear that is holding you back? Maybe it's the belief that you're not qualified. You're saying to yourself, I really want to grow my business and reach the next stage, but I'm not qualified. I don't know enough yet. Or maybe your fear is that you don't have enough money to spend on this business. You haven't made enough money at this new venture yet, so you can't invest anything. Your mind is telling you that the prudent thing to do is to wait to make money first, and then you can invest. But what is underneath that? Really think about it. For many people, it's a fear of losing money, of wasting money, of feeling foolish and being embarrassed because they made this choice. They took the risk and they lost. But you have to recognize that fear for what it is. It's your mind trying to keep you safe, because as long as you don't spend anything, you haven't risked anything. And so there's no way that that terrible outcome can happen of you feeling embarrassed or feeling foolish or angry at yourself for spending money and it didn't work out. And you're letting that fear of what might happen dictate your actions, because nothing like that has happened yet. You're just future tripping. You can't possibly know how things will turn out. What's for sure is that if you don't invest, you'll stay right where you are, stuck and fearful. For me, this is exactly what was happening. I was trying to build my coaching business and telling myself that I didn't need to get any help. I was smart enough. I could figure out what needed to be done. I didn't need to, quote unquote, waste money on other people's programs or business mentorship because I could do it myself. And I stayed at that place for a long time. But what I eventually realized was that those ideas, that story that I didn't need any guidance or help, that was just my mind trying to keep me safe. Deep down, I was afraid of taking the risk. I was afraid of ridicule if I went big with this dream. I was afraid of wasting money and being frivolous with money. I couldn't handle the idea that I might invest money and it wouldn't pay off. Plus, this idea of becoming a successful coach was really pushing me out of the identity that I had for myself that was nice and safe as a physician. And so I stayed right where I was, kind of dabbling, playing it safe, and not much was happening. And I blamed it on other things. I told myself that I didn't really have time to make this successful. I was a mom and I was busy. I had a lot of responsibilities, and that's why I wasn't really having the success that maybe other people were having. But that was a lie I was telling myself, almost to make myself feel better about my mediocre success and kind of let myself off the hook. So it wasn't until I woke up and realized that it was just me. I was the only one holding me back, and that it was time to go all in, to go pro, and to push past the fear that was sabotaging my success. And that's when things started to change. That's when I invested in my business, got my own coach, invested in the programs that I needed to, got myself in the rooms I needed to be in. That's when everything shifted. Okay, so back to your assignment though, writing in your journal about your own process. So once you have really taken a good look at what the fear is that's keeping you right where you are, then I want you to write down your two choices. One, you can believe that fear based story. You can stay right where you are and stay stuck. Or two, you can choose to feel the fear and do it anyway. This would be choosing to take action and really test your assumption and not let fear be an excuse to hold you back. And that's how you work through this process. Every time it happens to you, and trust me, it will happen a lot, whether you realize it or not. Okay, that brings us to the end of today's episode. Now, if you are ready to break through those upper limits, and for many of us, the biggie is breaking out of a job that doesn't fulfill us anymore. And so if that's you, then you are definitely going to want to attend my free online training called The 4-Part Formula for Replacing Your 9-to-5 Income with a Coaching Business You Love. Inside the training, I'll be teaching you the details of my framework for creating a profitable coaching business, the 4 essential elements to create in your coaching business in order to get all the clients you want so that you can replace your income and step into a freedom-based career that gives you the lifestyle you truly desire. Plus, I'll tell you about the 3 mistakes I see coaches making all the time that are keeping them stuck and are making them feel like things aren't working in their business so that you can avoid those fateful mistakes and not be one of the coaches who gives up because they couldn't get their business off the ground. Now, this training will only be available for a limited time, so head over to drkimfoster.com/business training right now to reserve your seat completely for free. And now I would love to hear from you. If you're listening on your phone and once you finish driving or whatever it is that you're doing, just take a quick screenshot of this episode and post it on Instagram or Facebook and be sure to tag me and let me know. Are you beginning to realize that you have actually been sabotaging your own success? Tell me about a fear or a block that you are no longer going to allow to have power over you. Okay, that's a wrap. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you. Stay well and stay safe, and I will talk to you next time. Thanks so much for listening. If you are ready to build a coaching business that gives you freedom and flexibility and allows you to make a meaningful impact in the world, but you're not really sure how to get started or what you need to do to attract the perfect clients and grow your income, then let me be your coach. I would love to teach you my exact framework, my proven method for how I created a freedom-based business for myself and how I've helped dozens of clients do the same thing and create a life that is better than their dreams. Get started by heading over to drkimfoster.com/business training, and there you can sign up for my free online training called The 4-Part Formula for Replacing Your 9-to-5 Income with a Coaching Business You Love.